Hello, viewers. It's Josie. Welcome back to Eclectic Movie Reviews. With the Oscars on Sunday, March 27th, I decided that I'm going to pair some of the Best Picture nominees to other movies, similar to a video I did last year. Um, I was inspired to do this by the Pure Cinema podcast. What they do sometimes is that they'll pick a director like Tarantino or David Lynch or Paul Thomas Anderson, and they'll pair each film in their filmography to another movie. And that's what I'm doing with some of the Best Picture nominees. I'm not talking about all of them. I'll be talking about Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, Licorice Pizza, Power of the Dog, but I'm not gonna. I wanted to do a pairing for Nightmare Alley. I just didn't have time, and I there's so many. I haven't seen King Richard, and there's so many sports movies, so it wouldn't really be that. It would be kind of boring if I paired it with another sports movie. And West Side Story, there's the original, and there's so many Romeo and Juliet retellings that it's kind of lame to pair it with another one of those. So let's start with Belfast. Just like how Kenneth Branagh based Belfast off of his own childhood, Hope and Glory, a movie I rented a few days ago and watched yesterday, which was pretty darn good. Hope and Glory is semi-autobiographical to writer-director John Boorman. He gave us Zardoz and Deliverance. Hope and Glory was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Production Design. Well, back then it was called Art Direction. Unfortunately, it lost all of them. It's funny, in the movie there's a line where someone says, "Don't be empty-handed," or something like that. I forget the exact wording. Okay, here's the description. Navigating difficult times as Mother Grace, Sarah Miles, Academy Award nominee for Best Actress, Ryan's daughter, 1971, who finds herself head of the household when her husband is drafted. Billy's sister, Billy, by the way, is the main kid in the movie. Dawn, Sammy Davis, Sammy Davis from Mona Lisa, whose romance and pregnancy with the dashing Canadian airman Corporal Carey, played by Jean-Marc Barr from The Big Blue, is yet another challenge for the stoic Grace, and George, played by Ian Bannon from Gandhi. Billy Rowan's curmudgeonly grandfather, whose idyllic country home will open Billy's eyes to a whole new world, kind of like Belfast, because he has a supportive grandma. Grandma and grandpa. Written and directed by Academy Award nominee John Boorman. Hope and Glory's photographed by Academy Award winner Philippe Roussillot. Costumed by 2-time Academy Award nominee Shirley Russell, and was nominated for 5, as I said. This Blu-ray here is from Olive Films. I don't believe it has any special features. And by the way, I couldn't read all of the descriptions, so that's why I got a little fumbled, because there's these stickers here, because it's, library item. So there are 2 film screenings here in that happen in Hope and Glory. that remind me of the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang scene in Belfast. There's one scene early in the film where there's assembly at school, and they're showing one of those World War survival videos. And oh, just for clarification, this takes place during World War II. Uh, there's a funny part where, and then there's a funny part where they go to a romance movie and Billy's bored out of his mind and grossed out by the kissing. I don't know if the movie was real or if it was one of those fake movies within a movie. Hope and Glory was a lot more intense than I imagined. There's a scene where a bombing takes place and the big window in the living room breaks, and the family, excluding the dad since he's away in war at this part, are all huddled together. Unlike most bombing scenes in war movies, this one caught me off guard. Um, and that's what makes the direction pretty strong here. I love when Billy plays with his friends in an abandoned, destroyed house, and they teach him how to curse. He says the F word, and one of his friends tell him that the word is only used for special circumstances. Yeah, I would recommend this. It's a good movie. For Dune, I thought of sci-fi movies where the protagonist goes on a hero's journey and learns of another culture, and so I'm pairing it with Stargate. The original epic movie from director Roland Emmerich, Independence Day, that spawned a galaxy of fans worldwide. Stargate remains a thrilling adventure through space and time that is not to be missed. Now, for the first time, see and hear a movie like never before with multiple versions of the film presented in the blah 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 blah. You know, the tech stuff about the Blu-ray and the features. I'm not going to go too far into this because I've actually talked about Stargate on a previous video. For Don't Look Up, okay, most people compare Don't Look Up to Idiocracy, understandably so. However, I thought that would be too obvious of a comparison. I'm going to go with Evolution from 2001, directed by Ivan Reitman. Rest in peace to Ivan Reitman, who brought us Ghostbusters. This fits because they're both sci-fi comedies revolving around meteors that came out 20 years apart, one in 2001 and one in 2021. And it's also good because, honoring Ivan Reitman by mentioning it here. So two college professors, played by David Duchovny and Orlando Jones, discover this alien organism evolving from within a meteor that landed on Earth. They're helped out by a hot yet intelligent government scientist, played by Julianne Moore. She's basically the smartest one in the room. Similar to Idiocracy and Don't Look Up, Evolution also depicts the incompetence of the government. Dan Aykroyd plays the governor. The whole comedy ensemble is great. Sean William Scott and Ethan Suplee play goofball students. There's one scene, I don't remember if it's with them or if it's with other kids, where they're assigned to draw like a cell, like a science cell, and I think they draw like a jail cell. I miss seeing Sean William Scott in things. Ty Burrell shows up. Sarah Silverman even has one scene. It's very funny. Underrated cult classic from the early 2000s. For those of you on the internet who find Adam McKay's current filmography too politically heavy-handed, I think this is a good alternative. Evolution is available to watch, I believe, on Amazon Prime. For Drive My Car, I'm going with Wim Wenders' Paris, Texas from 1984. This film is about a drifter named Travis Henderson, played by Harry Dean Stanton, rest in peace, who makes a return to society after being missing for 4 years. After his brother finds him, Travis reconnects with his son, and then Travis and his son go on a trip to find his mother. Despite different plot circumstances, the protagonists in Drive My Car in Paris, Texas, have to come to terms with their past to make sense of their current lives. both harbor love for women in their past, and Kafuku's case in Drive My Car, it's his deceased wife, and in Paris, Texas, it's Jane, the mother of Travis's child. Both films are long, but do not feel their length because they make you care so much about the characters, and that's also a testament to their editing. They also have beautiful driving scenery. Paris, Texas has one of my favorite movie monologues ever. Raisuke Hamaguchi is actually a big Wim Wenders fan. Paris, Texas is available on DVD and Blu-ray through Criterion and is streaming on HBO Max. For The Power of the Dog, okay. When most people think of movies to pair with Power of the Dog, they think of Brokeback Mountain because of the theme of repressed homosexualities and the gay cowboy thing. I think that's a very superficial comparison. I understand why people make it, but I find it very lazy. I understand. I knew that there aren't that many movies like The Power of the Dog, so I thought, screw it, let's just talk about a random rancher movie. Doesn't even have to be connected plot-wise. And I found this movie with Kirk Douglas called The Man Without a Star, a King Vidor Western. I wish I had the Blu-ray with me right now, but I returned it to the library. This film is about a drifter from Texas named Dempsey Ray, played by Kirk Douglas, who comes to Wyoming to get a job in cattle herding. Power of the Dog, of course, has the weird mentorship between Benedict Cumberbatch and Cody Smith-McPhee's characters, and much to my surprise, Kirk Douglas's character comes across another young drifter on his way named Jeff Jimson, played by William Campbell. And he sort of mentors him, just like Benedict Cumberbatch. Kirk Douglas teaches the kid roping. I'm saying that cringingly. The two get hired at a ranch played by a seductively manipulative, gritty woman named Reed Bowman, played by Jean Crane. Dempsey, also called Demps, and he's nicknamed Demps, and Reed start having a fling, but then war amongst the ranchers ensues when Reed begins fencing in the wide open spaces for profit. What's interesting about Man Without a Star, as opposed to others, was that other westerns, is that it focused on class warfare amongst the ranchers rather than shooting down the outlaws or defeating the Indian tribes. Well, probably because they took all the Indians' land already, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other conversation. The Technicolor is gorgeous. It has a catchy theme song. As far as how this other ways this pairs with Power of the Dog, I like to consider Man Without a Star, Phil Burbank, that's Benedict Cumberbatch's character's fantasy of the romanticized old Western dream, and Power of the Dog, the reality of the dying Old West, if that makes sense. Quentin Tarantino is actually, and they're both very, and back to, before I get on that, they're both very sexy Westerns, if you know what I mean. Quentin Tarantino is actually a big fan of Man Without a Star. It's available on Blu-ray through Kino Lorber, and you can rent it for a couple bucks on Amazon Prime, I believe. And for Coda, I'm actually going with an anime movie based on a manga comic called A Silent Voice. Okay, I know this is Japanese sign language, but it still connects. In Silent Voice, a hearing-impaired girl named Shoko is bullied by this boy named Shoya who secretly likes her. And as a result of being so tormented, she transfers to another school. In turn, Shoya gets bullied. The bullying here reminded me how in Coda, Ruby, played by Amelia Jones, though she's not deaf herself, gets bullied for being raised in a deaf culture. Shoya is extremely guilty for how he treated Shoko. He even attempts suicide. Years later, intending to find redemption, he learns sign language and finds her. They become friends, and this is a deeply emotional watch. Very sweet. It's very sweet and touching. I teared up. I was on the verge of bawling. If you have younger kids, I wouldn't recommend it to them, though, until they're like in middle school or even early high school, to be honest, because the themes like attempted suicide, spoiler alert, no one commits suicide. There's just attempted suicide. Um, and just and some other themes it brings up. It's pretty it may be a little too heavy for younger kids. And then finally, for Licorice Pizza, I'm going with Alan. By the way, A Silent Voice is available to watch on Netflix. Okay, moving on. For Licorice Pizza, I'm going with I'm going with Rock and Roll High School from, I believe it's from 1979. Let me just double check the year. Rock and Roll High School movie. Yeah, 1979. Directed by Alan Arkish and an uncredited co-direction by Joe Dante. They're not much alike plot-wise, but they're both fun teen romances with rockin' soundtrack. And just so you know, Rock and Roll High School is not an autobiography biopic, it's autobiopic about the Ramones. So, at Vincent Lombardi High School, the students love rock and roll. They've lost many principals due to the rowdiness of the students. Especially Ramones fanatic Riff Randall, played by PJ Soles, most known for Carrie and Halloween. Their newest principal is Miss Togar. She and a group of parents try to stop this musical craze by burning records. Riff and her friends, with help from the Ramones, try to win this war. All I can say is that it's a lot of fun. It's got jammin' tunes by not just the Ramones, but also Nick Rowe, Chuck Berry, Brian Eno, Brownsville Station, and Todd Rundgren. Rock and Roll High School is on Blu-ray and available to watch on Tubi. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like this video, you can click the like button and subscribe, and you'll see more poetry and movie-related videos. And the links to my socials are in the description below. See you next time. If you check out some of these movies, I hope you enjoy them. And for those of you award season fans, have fun. Goodbye for now.